Hey guys, so this was the second layout that I started in my quest to kill the kit, as I'm referring to it. On Thursday, as I mentioned in the intro video, I was waiting for my March kit on Thursday and realized that I still had quite a bit um, of the February kit left. So I was like, you know what? I can't let these kits pile up like I have in the past. So I was like, let's just start scrapping and see what we can get done. So this was the first in my series I'm calling Kill the Kit. So I picked that orange, that ugly, ugly orange basil paper, and because I wanted to use both sides of this paper, both the black with the white arrows, and then this heart paper. So I'm just adhering them onto this ugly orange paper because I knew I would never use that orange as a background or pretty much anything else. So I really wanted to use both of these papers. So in order to do that, I added them to that 12 by 12 orange sheet. So I'm just cutting off the excess here. And now I'm realizing that maybe I should have done something different with that top. I'm putting this ribbon down, but I don't actually end up using it, I don't believe. I know that I use it on a different layout, but I'm not sure it makes it onto this one. I created four layouts this same day, so I don't know. I don't know which is which, but anyway. So that is the border strip. That is the, what do you call those things? The branding strip. That pink strip that's going across the middle of those two patterns is the branding strip for that heart and that arrow paper. And so I know that I want it to go down the center there. I'm going to trim up some of the black that's left um, that didn't get trimmed off when I cut the paper. And here I'm going to make one of my mistakes that I make all the time. I'm going to put the adhesive on the wrong side of this branding strip, and then I'm like, oh my God. So thankfully I used my ATG. It came off really easily, no big deal. So we'll just start over. And then it turned out to be fortuitous that I did that because I decided that I wanted to run some gray washi tape along the center of the page as well. So I lay that down, trying to get that grid. It's a grid with it's a gray grid with a red dot around it. So I added that to border that strip that goes down the center, that pink one. And now I'm realizing now, and I started to say this before, but I'm realizing that there's a huge, like there's a top and then there's a bottom of this page. And the two look very, what's the word? They look like they don't belong together. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to pull some of that red and that pink down into that lower space to make sure that it looks like it's all the same layout. You know, like if you watch Project Runway and they're like, the top half of that shirt, that skirt, or that dress doesn't look like it goes with the bottom half. Well, that's what I was feeling about this layout. I really felt like the top wasn't going with the bottom. So here you're going to see me fiddle with a bunch of scraps. So I pulled out my black scrap bin. No, I pulled out my pink and my red scrap bin, and I just pulled a bunch of pictures, and I'm going to spend a significant amount of time right here trying to find some layers that I like. And I actually left this layout and walked away and came back to it because the layers were giving me big issues because I just could not get this page to lay in a way that I wanted. There's too much contrast. It's too stark a change from the top of the page to the bottom, and I was frustrating myself in trying to get them to now go together. So playing around with all of these scraps. I'm going to add things, I'm going to take things away, I'm going to cut things, it's just going to be a lot of, as you watch here, it's going to be a lot of back and forth. How do I want to do this? And then I finally get to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to start pasting it down and then seeing what happens. So I'm not quite there yet. And the other problem is I laid all my scraps on my paper trimmer and I'm lazy. So I didn't want to pick my scraps up off the paper trimmer to use the paper trimmer. So I'm cutting everything by hand, and that just makes this layout even worse because I couldn't cut a straight line like to save my life with a pair of scissors. So it's making everything a little wonky. So yeah. But this one I left and came back. I went and read a little bit and came back and looked at it and watched some YouTube videos and then came back. It was a lot of going back and forth and just trying to figure out how to make the top and the bottom of this look like it goes together without covering both of those patterns up because I really liked both of the patterns, which is the reason why I wanted to use them both on this layout. And I'll tell you a funny story about this picture. This was taken on New Year's Eve day this year, and I was down at my brother Sean's, and his kids were. Sarah was. She woke up on the wrong side of the bed. She was in a mood. So, she was running around saying she never asked for a brother. She didn't want a brother. Eli had written in her Doc McStuffin's diagnostic notebook, and Sarah was not pleased by this at all. So she just kept running around the house saying she didn't ask for a brother. She didn't want a brother. Um, and I said to her, I said, "You want me to take Eli home with me?" And she said, "No, I want to go home. I want to go home with you. Leave Eli here." So she was just not happy with her brother at that point. And so later on, they just started, she calmed down, she got over it, and they started playing together, and she just gave him this hug and picked him up like this. And I just thought it was the cutest thing ever. But it's really funny to go with the story of the beginning of the day where she was like, "I don't want a brother." So I went and I got out some gray scrap paper and some black paper to mat this photo. So I'm going to use my matting tool here and mat this photo. And here's where I'm starting to get, you know what? I just need to get it. I just need to get it laid down. Sorry about that. That's my alarm telling me that there's something I need to be doing right now. There's nothing I need to be doing other than this. No, seriously. So here's where I'm going to just pick it all up. I'm going to take it all off, and then I'm going to just start putting it down. You'll see me here go back, and I'm going to write down some things that I'm using because I'm going to typically what I do to make my supply list is I just leave everything out on my desk. And then as I'm putting it away, I write it down in my notebook that I used it. But for this, because I like the branding strip, I was not going to have laying on my desk when I finished. So I wrote down that I used that paper, and the same with the POW paper from American Crafts, that glitter paper back there. I was going to use the whole sheet of it and cover the brand up so I wouldn't know that it was laying out on the desk, so that I used it. So I wanted to write it down right away. Typically, I just wait till the end and leave everything out on the desk, and then as I'm putting it away, put it down in my notebook. So continuing with the heart theme here. I'm using a Martha Stewart Edge Punch, and I'm actually going to keep those hearts and put them in that little glass bowl you see up there because I think I may want to use them later. There we go. And again, back up in that bowl so that if I want to use I thought about maybe making a, like one of those glassine bags and put some confetti in them, and so those hearts would have worked well there. I didn't use it on this layout, but that's what I was thinking. And then here, when I put those hearts up against that pink paper, the hearts weren't showing up well enough for me. And so I decided to back the hearts with this white. And so then obviously I had to I had to pull out the paper trimmer to do that. So I wanted to back the heart border with white just so it showed up a bit better. So that's what I'm doing there. And you get to a point sometimes, and I know you guys probably feel this way too, you just get to a point sometime where, it's not working. So we need to just do whatever we need to do, just get it down. And in the end, I don't know that it's my favorite layout I ever made, but I kind of like it. It's a bit busy. I think that the layout has way too many patterns, way too many colors. It's a bit busy, but in the end, it turns out pretty well, I think. So just adding a little bit more of that washi tape. And now I'm finally going to adhere my photo. All right, give it a look. So, okay, now where we got to embellish? Where are we going to put our title? Well, we need to do some journaling. Where are we going to put that? So I'm going to use the letter stickers that came with the kit. They're a gray. And I decided to use the title, He's Not Heavy, he's my brother. And here I'm going to realize that that V is not going to show up at all against that gray cardstock. So I'm going to move where I initially thought I would put my title. So I'm actually going to wrap the title around the photo. So the top will say he's not heavy, the bottom will say he's my brother. And I thought I knew the lyrics to that song, but after I finished the layout, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't know the lyrics to that song. So I went and looked them up, and it works out pretty well. I'm happy with the lyrics of the song that go along with their relationship. The lyrics are a bit older than these two are at the moment, but they weren't like awful lyrics. They fit pretty well, so I thought I would just go with that. So I'm going to use that gray font for that, and now I'm running off to look for some letter stickers, and these are from, what are they, Fancy Pants, or actually I have them right here. They're my little shoebox letters, actually. And I realized when I picked that bottom letter up that the top was lowercase and the bottom was uppercase. So I had to put that one letter back and then do it. And it has several different fonts on it. So it's a pretty good sticker sheet for small stickers. So I'm just finishing up the title here. And now I'm going to go off and get my white gel pen so that I can add the apostrophes, because if I didn't add them it would bother me. For the he is contraction. And here I'm looking through all my bling because I thought that I would use some bling on this layout. And so I thought maybe I have this black bling here, and that's the one I finally decided to use, but I'm going to go through it all and look and see if there's something better. But I end up using the black one. Ooh, heavens, I'm tired today. Okay, come on. I should have cut some of this out. Sorry about that, guys. I was looking for a specific set of bling that I knew I had, and I keep a box next to my desk that I throw things in that need to be put away when I'm finished a layout. If I don't feel like at that moment getting up and going and putting it all away right then and there. So I was looking for heart bling. I actually have bling that's shaped like hearts, and that's what I was looking for as I was going through there. But it turns out that I had used that on a layout pretty recently, and it was in that box of things to put away. So that's why I could not find it, because I did not put it away. It's so funny because in my scrap room, everything gets put away. Like, I mean, new stuff takes a little bit of time to get, in the organization and stuff like that, but everything gets put in its place. In my real life, if you don't want me to find something, put it where it belongs, because I won't look there. Like my keys. Stu will always pick my keys up from wherever I have left them laying around the house and put them where they belong in this, like, I don't know, dresser drawer thing that we have sitting by the front door. And he will always put them away. And then I can't ever find them. And I'm like, I don't know where my keys are. Well, did you look where they belong? Of course I didn't. And the same thing like with my shoes. I'm like, I know I wore them. They got to be around here somewhere. And no, I had put them away. They're in the closet where they belong. So I'm going to use these new Prima stamps that I got. They're Prima washi tape stamps. And one says I love you and the other one just is hearts. And I probably should have used my Stamp-A-Majig to stamp them down. Because they're a bit crooked, but oh well. Live and learn. And I'm probably not patient enough to pull out the Stamp-A-Majig anyway, so. So I'm just adding, it's a stamp from, I think that's Amy Tangerine, or that's Dear Lizzie, that their new phrase roller stamps. And it says what a day, and then the date. January 1st, 2013. And now I'm looking for a journaling card because I got to do some journaling here. Looking at some L Studio cards. And this one at the bottom says, and again, you guys see me do this all the time, I put an X through that journaling card on the back of the packaging so I knew that it was gone. And now I'm going to fiddle with the placement of that, but I know that's where I'm going to put my journaling card and where I'm going to journal. So I'm just journaling about Sarah hating her brother for most of the day, and then you turn around and here she's picking him up and hugging him like he's the best person in the world. And that is so indicative of brother-sister relationships. I feel that way with my brothers all the time. And now I used a deep edge punch by Martha Stewart to punch some hearts. And I just, because of this, because of what I did here, I ordered the confetti heart punch by Martha Stewart. It was hard to find, but I found it. And so, because I discontinued making it, so I bought the confetti heart punch. Just right after I finished making this layout because I didn't have a heart punch that made, and yes, I could have gone to the silhouette and, cut out a bunch of hearts, but sometimes just having the punch right next to you is really easy. Typically, if I use cuts from the Silhouette store, I think about the design. It's not something that I do mid layout. I will see a shape, like a shape, cut it out, and then know exactly what pictures I'm going to use with that shape, and know, how I'm going to use it for a layout and things like that. So it's not something that it's very rare that I'll go to the Cameo and cut something in the middle of making a layout. Typically, I cut it knowing exactly what I'm going to use it for. So here's a look at the final layout. I added some of those glitter stars in the upper left and lower right to finalize all of the embellishment, and that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back in a little bit, hopefully, with my next Kill the Kit layout for February 2013.